Welcome to Masters of Product Management, a show that gives you real-world techniques and cutting-edge strategies to learn, apply, and succeed in product management. Now, here's the master himself, Steven Haines.
Welcome back, everybody. You know, in every product management and product strategy workshop done by my company, Sequent Learning Networks, somebody invariably talks about the fact that they're accountable for results and they have no authority to direct resources. How about you? You know, I think that many of you have experienced this. Some have finessed it. You've created some kind of a path forward, and others have some trouble. And I think there are probably more people who are challenged with this than not. And you know, as a group of product managers, what we have to do is to harness the capabilities of such an incredibly vast population of people. It's difficult sometimes to get our brains around all the work we have to do. And we just put our heads down in our laptops. We get stuck in our meetings. We complain about our emails. But you know, we've still got to get product spec developed and out the door. So I've learned a bunch of lessons along the way. And I think there are some tricks of the trade that I can share with you. And that's what I want to do in this program. And there are so many different areas, but there are three that I'd like to concentrate on. So one has to do with the topic of empowerment. The other one has to do with influence. And the other one is related to political capital. And these are associated with what you may have heard as softer skills. The ones that are basically based on your personal interactions and the behaviors that people see and overall professional effectiveness. So let's lay that down as a foundation. We'll start out with this topic of empowerment. Now, by virtue of your role, you are, or perhaps should be, empowered to act. And that means you have to be able to make some decisions on behalf of your product's business. Except some of us don't know what to do with delegated empowerment. And because of that, I don't think it works as often as it could. And I'll give you an example. So I was delivering a workshop a few years ago, and there was a leader who came in to talk about what the purpose of the workshop was and how all these product managers were now empowered, and he was expecting great things from them. And then he walked out of the room. And these 25 or so people in the room looked completely stunned. It's like their jaws were dropping on the floor. And it dawned on me that empowerment isn't something that is given to you. It's something that you earn. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what can you do to earn empowerment? Well, how about this? If you can reach out to the bosses of your peers. Now, this is important because I did this a lot in my corporate life. I always figured, how could I manage up and across? And that outreach to the bosses of my peers was to check in, see how things were going on, how things were going, provide some updates. Sometimes you may find that, wow, maybe I can praise one of my peers to his or her boss. Those are things that go into that asset account, if you will, where you're starting to earn empowerment. There are other things. I've always found that when you help others, and that help is visible, it's not that you're slogging through it, but you're really and genuinely trying to help others, and you're providing some value, and you're helping them to learn and grow, navigate a company, get something done, whatever it is, you're earning empowerment. So this earned empowerment goes hand in hand with building credibility and basically being recognized by others and doing good work. So let's put that in one bucket. The second bucket has to do with influence. Now, when people were explaining to me earlier in my career about the importance of influence, it was very, very difficult for me to get my brain around, what does it really mean to influence other people? And so everybody says, sure, you have to go out and influence people, but how do you do that? What does it really mean? And so as a baseline, let's just say that influence means I'm having an impact on somebody else. At the very, very basic, you can actually influence your own behavior because in the end, you're in charge of you. You can figure out what to wear. You can figure out what the best route is to get to work or what to eat. That's easy. Second level, let's say you have direct reports. You could just tell people what to do. That's influence by position authority. If you're a parent, you have direct influence over your kids and you tell them what to do. When they get older, they don't pay attention to you. But the kind of influence that's so elusive to product people is indirect influence. What does it mean? It means getting somebody to come along for the ride because they believe in you and they trust you. And they know that you're the person heading in the right direction. So maybe you have some authority over your kids or your direct reports by virtue of your role, but I think the indirect thing is harder.
You're listening to Masters of Product Management with Steven Haines from Sequent Learning Networks, sequentlearning.com.
So what can we do? To directly appeal to this influencing landscape, one of the things product managers can do is have a vision. Literally a vision. Where are we going? Why are we going there? What are the goals that come out of that? Or is there a real strategy for the product? And to get this, you as a product guy need to have the market insights, really cool customer stories, and you even have to have a handle on the numbers. Because in the end, it's more like the business end of the stick that matters more than anything else. So we're talking about bringing others into the fold. Here's another way of looking at this. Suppose you get back from a customer visit. Oh, actually better. Suppose you get to visit a customer with a few cross-functional colleagues. You get to set the stage. What's the goal of the visit? What should people be looking for? Maybe how they can interact and so on. So everybody's got their radar up, right? Well, once you go do the visit, go out for a beer or go get a drink or get dinner. Your job would be to facilitate the conversation. What do people think? Ask them, probe, get them involved. Because what you want to try to do is inspire their conversations, get some of their ideas and insights. Because what you're doing is you're listening to them and you're valuing what they contribute. So on this influence continuum, if the more you get to inspire others or the more you infuse them with some passion and excitement in solving problems for customers or something like that, maybe even doing things more efficiently, you're earning the empowerment and you're influencing other people. So put those aside. I want to talk about that third area because the third area, this thing called political capital, runs as an undercurrent and is vital to your survival in the corporate world. Now, let's think about this. So if we talk about how others view you and you earn empowerment, what does this mean? So let's go back to the word capital. I'm trained in finance. That's my original background. And one of the things that finance people look at is balance sheets, and balance sheet have assets and liabilities and equity or net worth. Political capital is that balance sheet that you have, and it builds up. That equity builds up over time. It's almost like when you have a mortgage on a house, you're paying down your mortgage and building up your equity in the house, right? And you could spend that money later if you want, or when you sell the house, you make a lot more money than you actually had on the books. But if you have your own personal balance sheet, you want to make sure that the work that you're doing is seen by others as valuable. And that, to me, means contributing to the goals and strategies of the business. It's pretty basic. Now, I want to just segue for one additional second to underscore the importance of all of this stuff, all right, these three specific areas: empowerment, influence, and political capital. There is an author, Patrick Lencioni, and he wrote a book called The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. And if you haven't read it, you should. It's sort of required reading for any business person, I think. So he uses this pyramid to show why teams fail to perform. And he starts out at the base of the pyramid, and he uses the term absence of trust. And then he progresses to the fear of conflict and lack of commitment, then avoidance of accountability. And then the last one is inattention to results. Now, I don't want to simplify the obvious, but relationship and trust building are really at the front and center of this, whether it's the base of his triangle or anything else. What it means is you do what you say and you meet your commitments and you help others and you keep people informed as what's going on. When I wrote the Product Manager's Desk reference and I talked about leadership, and there is one subheading, if you will, that talked about the fact that you're always on stage and that your excitement and your passion matters, as well as your ability to produce results. And that's the stuff. These are the building blocks of your reputation, which adds to your political capital and helps you influence other people and ultimately earns you greater levels of empowerment. So I want to leave you with a few final words. And because it's been on my mind a lot lately. From my perspective, we work in a world where we want to please our bosses. I don't know if we focus enough on growing our product businesses. And I sometimes feel that we're pushing this rock up a hill, the big hill, by ourselves. And if we're pushing the rock up the hill by ourselves, then we could find ourselves at the edge of a cliff. So instead, what I would like to leave you with as the seed is how can we create a growth-oriented product team? And to me, I think you can do this by fostering an environment where everybody learns and grows, that they learn about customers together and competitive activities, that they understand what's going on inside the company, about understanding even the essence of the product's businesses, where everybody's involved in strategy and meeting the goals together. And I think Lencioni provides a great context. If everyone's paying attention to results and trusts one another as they create the product's journey, influence and authority just become words. Because to me and to everybody else in the world, actions always speak louder than words. So thanks. Thanks for joining me again, and I hope you'll spread the word about the Sequent Business Network. See you next time.
This has been Masters of Product Management with Steven Haines, but it doesn't end there. Just visit sequentbusiness.net to take advantage of free tools and resources and subscribe to the show. That way, you'll never miss an episode. It's all there at sequentbusiness.net. We'll talk to you next time on Masters of Product Management. Learn, apply, and succeed. SequentLearning.com